So we work on the intros. We work on giving salespeople a really good objection handling process that isn't like your old school scripting. So instead of making people wrong or trying to convince them or arguing with them, we have a process that aligns you with them and keeps them talking.
Welcome to the Dream Home Podcast, the show where real estate meets real talk. Hosted by John Nagle, a seasoned expert with over $7 billion in real estate financing experience. This podcast features top realtors, builders, and financial pros. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, we've got the tools to help you make smarter moves. Here's your host, John Nagle.
Welcome back to another episode of the Dream Home Podcast, where we share the people, strategies, and programs that help buyers, sellers, and real estate pros win without the chaos. I'm your host, John Nagle with CMG Home Loans. Today's episode is for every agent who has ever thought, I know I should follow up, I just hate what I'm supposed to say. Because our guest is one of the most recognized voices in lead conversion and sales dialogue training in real estate, Dale Archdekin. Dale is the founder of Smart Sales Coaching, built to help agents, ISAs, teams, and brokerages stop wasting expensive leads and start booking real appointments. He's been in the real estate world for about 16 years, and he's lived every version of this business, from being a hardcore prospector calling expireds and FSBOs to building a scalable ISA department to training teams across North America. And here's the credibility that matters. As the former director of lead generation for a top 5 Keller Williams mega team, Dale helped more than double production, driving the team's sales to over $200 million in about 3 years. He's also known for building training systems so repeatable that a brand new person, no real estate background, could be trained into a high-producing role. He also partners with major industry vendors. He's been featured as a go-to trainer for large audiences, and he's known for a method he calls unscripted, which is basically the opposite of sounding like a robot with a script you downloaded online. Dale, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, John. I'm excited.
So, Dale, let's kick this off with your superpower. If someone says, why is Dale different than the rest of the real estate training world? What do you say?
I'd say 2 things. 1, because I've actually done it myself for a long time very successfully. And 2, learning how to take the mindset, approach, and perception of a top producing salesperson and distilling it down so that I can teach a junior salesperson or somebody who doesn't know the techniques very quickly so that they can ramp really fast.
So you call it an unscripted method. That sounds like you're telling agents to freestyle, and that sounds terrifying.
Well, actually, the truth is almost all of us hate scripts. I've never met a salesperson who really liked scripts. And in our industry, scripts only work for really hot leads that are already ready to be closed. And so a lot of real estate salespeople are talking to warm and cold leads, and they're winging it anyway. I'm just teaching them how to wing it better.
And you earned that the hard way, right? You weren't born in a CRM. You came up calling people.
Yeah. So when I first got into the real estate industry in 2008, because I don't watch the news or listen to advice from my parents, I decided I was going to sell real estate, even though the entire universe was on fire at that time. I didn't have a sphere of influence. I didn't have any money to buy leads. And so basically I just started calling strangers because I had done so doing mortgages prior part-time. And so I just started calling FSBOs, expireds for rent by owners, and figured it out. I just had to keep the lights on. So I've been in the trenches for a long time.
Wow, that's an incredibly brave time to start in the real estate business, 2008, that's for sure.
Or incredibly dumb. Whichever, now hindsight, it's like, oh, what a genius. Well, at the time, it was probably a terrible idea.
So let's make this wildly useful. If an agent listening today says, I've got leads, I'm just not converting them, walk us through your simple playbook. What's the sequence?
So we first start with, our certification process on unscripted is we take people through the basics, just how to message so that people will actually answer you, how to improve what you're writing to them so they stop ignoring you, how to get into a conversation. In fact, I just worked with a done-for-you ISA company. I changed just the intro words that their salespeople were saying, and it tripled the number of minute-plus conversations they were able to have with an average lead mix of PPC and social media leads like we all work. So we work on the intros. We work on giving salespeople a really good objection handling process that isn't like your old school scripting. So instead of making people wrong or trying to convince them or arguing with them, we have a process that aligns you with them and keeps them talking. Then we work on why should somebody buy or sell with you? Being able to articulate your value, which shockingly most agents can't do or can't do clearly and concisely. And then we give you basic closing skills to ask for and get logical appointments with buyers and sellers. And we start there, then we move on to the more advanced stuff.
So let's slow that down. When you say entry into the conversation, what do you mean?
The introduction, the words that you say, the way that you say them when somebody first answers that phone, or at an open house, face to face, when you first start interacting with someone. The first 20 seconds of what you do and what you say really sets the tone for whether or not somebody's going to shut you down or whether they're going to keep talking to you.
And the internet is full of questions like call or text first, how many follow-ups, what do I say when they ghost? What's your simplified rule?
So I have some simple rules for follow-ups. I have some simple rules for how to conduct yourself. And what I would say, two things around the activity. One is do it. The best time to do it is when you're going to do it, because a lot of you listening right now aren't doing it or you're not doing it consistently. So start there. Then from that point, we have kind of a follow-up procedure. I follow 7 days, right? So I'm going to hit you for the first 3 days. I'm going to go silent for 2 days. I'm going to come back and hit you for 2 more days. That altogether is 7 days. If somebody can ignore you for 7 days, let them. Just continue sending them content, continue sending them listings, things like that. Then you're going to watch for their activity. If they bubble back to the top, then you're going to hit them for 3 days in a row afterwards, right? So you're following this pattern. You've got new leads coming in. You've got recent leads that are on your 7-day pattern. Then you're looking for the leads that are incubating in your system, and you're putting them through an intensive 3-day whenever they bubble to the top. Messaging. Do you want me to talk about that?
Yes, that'd be great.
Here's a core principle to our messaging. Salespeople are easy to ignore. Real people are not. When you keep writing professional looking text messages and emails, you're teaching the lead to continue ignoring you. As quickly as you can, you need to get to a more casual, a more real type of messaging. And that tends to bring the wall of anonymity down and allows the person, the lead, to finally respond to you. Also, your messaging needs to be simple. If you're sending your messages are too complicated. 1, it looks like a salesperson. 2, it's too complicated. So general rule, ask one question, get it answered. If they're ignoring a simple message, make it simpler. Don't make it more complicated.
That makes sense. And now a big one, call resistance. Agents know they should call, but they avoid it. How do you fix that?
Surprisingly, we fix it with amazing training. So the whole premise of Unscripted means that we're teaching you the principles both of how the prospect or consumer is viewing you as the salesperson in whatever scenario it is, and also how to best approach the lead or prospect from your own words following basic principles. Once we teach you the basic principles and shift your perspective, you come up with the words on your own and you feel so much more comfortable doing it. In fact, in our industry, trying to give people scripts to follow inherently makes them more uncomfortable. So just by the nature of what we teach and how we teach it, people become way more comfortable. In fact, a lot of our students are like, oh my God, I can call anybody now. I feel so comfortable doing it. It breaks that ice for them.
Yeah, that's a great point. So let's look at one example. The lead says we're already working with another agent. What's your approach?
So that's a very complicated question. There's lots of different approaches. What I would say is that the basic first thing that I would teach a salesperson, beyond all the other techniques and strategy and not having any other context, I'll take you through it. It's a very simple 4-step process. Just remember, this is very basic, everybody. Okay? So, John, tell me what you said again.
I'm already working with someone else.
Oh, you're working with someone else?
Yes.
Yeah, got it. Are you committed to working with them?
Well, I just started working with them, so we're kind of feeling things out right now.
Feeling things out. Okay. Have you signed anything with them yet?
Not yet, no.
Okay, great. I'm just curious, what's the advantage to working with that agent over any other agent in the market?
They are the ones that I first contacted.
Got it. First contacted. Okay. So I'm going to break down this basic 4-step process. John objected to me, said, we're already working with someone. I repeated his words in the form of a question and I swung up on the end. That's a paraphrase. John, being the kind of person who doesn't give you a lot of extra information, just said yes. However, there are people who will give you free information when you just simply paraphrase what they said. They'll give you extra context. They'll give you extra reasoning. The next question I asked was, are you committed to that other agent? Very direct, and we call that a cage rattler. Notice that even in role play, John could have easily said, oh yeah, totally committed, deeply committed. Even in role play, he didn't say he was committed. He did the waffle, which is what we call it, right? So what you'll get is one of 3 things when you ask that question. You'll get a yes, you'll get a no, or you'll get a waffle, which is what John did. And either way, if it's no, we just stop doing what we're doing and go on with rapport and discovery. If it's yes or waffle, we go to the next question, which is, have you signed anything with them? Because if they've already signed an agreement to work with that agent, you can't cross that line, right? You can't offer the same service. He said no. Notice, this is one of the magic touches here. I didn't go into pitching John. I didn't go into trying to persuade John. I didn't make any offer to John. My next question was, what's the advantage to working with that agent over any other agent in the market? Basically, John is now going to tell me what value he sees or what advantage he gets or what reasoning he has for choosing that agent. I need to understand that before I try selling him anything. So that's a basic 4-step process that we start with new agents.
Oh, that's awesome. So you have some crazy before and after stories. Give us one that sticks with you where training changed someone's business.
So there was an agent that I was working with, Jason. And when we first started working with him, he was calling an average mix of leads, PPC, social media, and cold calling. It would take Jason somewhere between 60 to 70 contacts of somebody answering the phone for him to be able to book an appointment. I worked Jason down to being able to book an appointment in 20 to 25 contacts. Here's the problem. Once I got him down to 20 to 25 contacts to book an appointment, all of a sudden he starts going on appointments, but not getting contracts signed. So we had to work on helping Jason to actually present and get the contract signed. So now Jason is booking appointments in 20 to 25. He gets really good at getting appointments or contracts signed, but nobody's closing. Nobody's actually buying or selling a house and ending up at the closing table. So then we had to work, okay, now Jason knows he's on appointments, he can get a contract with anybody. Then we had to work on really well qualifying people and only signing the contracts of the people that needed to sign contracts so that he could go on and close deals. That's probably one of the best examples of where we literally had to work on each piece. And in the beginning, Jason didn't believe it was possible. And the people on his team didn't believe it was possible. And then ended up being one of the examples of the team of what you could do if you worked on your skills. So I just love that story.
Yeah, that is a great story for sure. And you've also built scale, not just theory. You've helped build and lead teams that grew massively.
Yes. Yeah. So my partners and I, at one point, built our team to the number 2 team in the Philly market. We got to over 30 agents and we were doing over 650 transactions per year. And then since then, I've been coaching and training other teams and brokers around, across the US and Canada, helping them optimize and scale their sales teams.
And that's why people respond to you, because you're not selling hype, you're selling outcomes.
Yes, exactly.
So let's talk resources, your programs. If someone is listening and thinking, this is what I need, where do they start? Walk us through the ecosystem.
Sure. A lot of people get introduced to my brand through the various vendors. So I've been a longtime partner with Follow Up Boss. We do free training for their audience. We do free training for the Sierra Interactive audience, Vulcan 7, YLOPO, RedX, Real Geeks, Fellow. So if you're using any of the major lead providers or CRM or website providers, you probably already have access to my company. And so that's the free entry point where we do a sample of our unscripted methodology. Next step is we do a 6-hour intensive training. And depending on how you get access to that, generally right now it's about $197 per person to do the 6 hours of training, and you get to learn the full system. And you can find that on my website. From there, then we, those who are like, wow, I really need this, but I need help on how to do it and how to actually execute it properly, we offer an unscripted certification.
And I saw an update that your boot camp is closed right now and you're retooling into a certification model around unscripted. Tell us what that is.
Yeah, so, this has been a bit of a personal development journey for me. And we used to do a shorter boot camp for a little bit of money. And the problem is, believe it or not, some agents would pay and not show up. Or they would pay and they would show up for a little bit and they wouldn't finish it. And so at this point in my career, I've just decided I'm only going to work with the people who are deeply committed to their own businesses. And I'm committed to teaching you everything that I know and making sure that you actually get it and can demonstrate it in the real world. And so for that, we expanded it beyond the boot camp. And so now what we have is a certification program. So we have our full program, which is basic and advanced, plus progress sessions, plus final exams to make sure our students actually can demonstrate the skill we taught them. So it's a little more involved. Basically, if you're a solo agent, it takes a minimum of 12 weeks to get through it, and you have to demonstrate the skill set, and you're going to pay for it. It's an investment that you're going to be making in your business. Let's put it that way. So I stopped selling little bits of things to people for little bits of money. I'm no longer doing that.
Well, and you feel like you've made that investment, so you're going to get the value out of it, and then putting them through the system and the steps is also just a huge benefit to them versus the alternative, which is they always take a quick peek at it and not really focus on it. So it's a great way to process through the system. And for team leaders or broker owners, you also run leadership coaching?
Yeah. So we do leadership consulting on lead gen systems, CRM, sales teams, as well as inside sales department consulting. Because, my transition was salesperson in the trenches, doing the work, moving to teaching other people to do the work, moving to hiring inside sales, figuring that out, making them highly optimized and profitable. And so I have the full chain of knowledge and experience and success. When I work with team leaders, I just meet them where they're at, figure out what their needs are. Do they need better training for the agents? Are they at the point now where they need to specialize into inside sales departments? And so we just meet them where they are and help them go to the next level.
One more, because I think this is a genius play. Your co-branded masterclass concept. Explain what that is and why brokers love it.
Sure. So as I mentioned, we do a 6-hour intensive where I show you the full system, the full unscripted system. And because here's what I know, there's a small percentage of those implementers like me who will hear it and they'll go do it. And they'll say, oh my God, that makes so much sense. I'm going to do it like that. Then there's a bigger percentage of people who say, oh my God, that sounds great. I want to do that. I'm not exactly sure how to do it. So for them, that's what the certification is for. Where we are really excelling is when we partner with vendors or brokers who want to get in front of their local audience, do more of a recruiting play. We just do a co-branded private masterclass for that brokerage. And the brokerage, depending on what the organization or how the structure goes, they just blast it to their entire market, invite as many agents so that they can contribute to those agents in their skill development. And then obviously they're the partner bringing in the number one sales training company and making it available to those agents in their market. So for details on that, you can jump on my website.
Yeah, that's a tremendous benefit for a brokerage to be able to offer that, because many brokerages, you're just kind of on your own when you start as an agent. So to show that they care enough about the training and making sure someone is a top producer is definitely an advantage to bringing in and attracting those potential new agent hires for sure.
Yeah, you know what I found, and the reason that we're going to this is that I just got tired of brokers and team leaders being the one who pay all this money for agents who don't take it seriously or do anything about it. And so what I'm finding is that instead of asking these brokers and team leaders to continue paying for training and resources that don't get used, just coming in upfront with a nice fat intensive where we're teaching people, the broker team leaders bringing value to their people. And then at that point, if someone wants to go further with us because they're serious about their career and they want to invest in it, they have that opportunity to invest themselves rather than always asking the broker or team leader to take the risk.
So the last segment, experience. This market has humbled people. If you could give one piece of advice to agents right now, what would it be?
I would say if you have the patience and you have the grit to keep going, that is where the riches will come from, because a lot of agents will leave this business. What happens is when the market is good, the pie gets really small. When the market gets really bad and hard, the pie gets way bigger because a lot of the people get up from the table. So stick around, stay at the table. This is where the money gets made.
And if you had to call out the one behavior that separates top converters,
it would be consistency. Honestly, I know that I sell sales training. I sell how to say your words better and get better result. At the end of the day, the person who says more things to more people more often wins, even if they're dumb things.
Yeah, that is on the money, Dale, for sure. So, Dale, this was outstanding. If agents want to find you, follow your content, and learn more about Unstricted and your coaching paths, what should they do next?
So best one is I have tons of free content on YouTube, my Smart Sales Coaching channel on YouTube, or you can find me on my website at smartsalescoaching.com. And that's pretty much it. Start there.
And we'll be posting all of the links to Dale's website as well in the show notes. And for listeners, if you're an agent and you want help strengthening your offers with lending strategy or expanding your buyer pool with niche programs, my team at CMG can help. We've got options that include exclusive programs like 0% down without geographic or income restrictions, and strategies like List and Lock that help sellers advertise at a lower rate to move listings. All right, everyone, if this was helpful, share it with one agent who needs it. Subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode of Dream Home Podcast. Bill, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Dream Home Podcast, hosted by John Nagle. Ready to take the next step toward your dream home? Visit www.dreamhomepodcast.com for resources, tips, and expert advice. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, leave a review, and join us next time for more real estate insights and mortgage tips. Until then, happy home hunting.